Pregame.tv, welcome to the Underachievers Bowl. It is Northwestern against Cal, two teams that absolutely stunk it up versus expectations last year. But hey, who cares if it's not the best game on the board? It's televised and we can bet on it. Right, Mr. Scott Spreitzer?
Absolutely. I thought you were calling us underachievers. I was going to say, dude, you won 2 LVH Super contests. You're not an underachiever, and you know I might be to you when it comes to the LVH contest. But as far as these two teams, absolutely right. But that might be Sonny Dykes' middle name is underachiever. However, I don't know. This looks like a lot of points to me. Northwestern, you know, Steve, they play so many tight games, and 2 years ago it worked for them. Last year it did not. And I think it's one of those situations where this team's going to be involved in a lot of tight games again. I'm looking at Cal. They've got a lot better depth this year than they had last year. Obviously, they've got Sonny Dykes for a second season. They have got to really focus on some of these early season games. Their second half schedule, home Washington, home UCLA, Oregon and Santa Clara, at Oregon State, at USC, home Stanford, and home Brigham Young. They might not win a single game of their 7 games, their final 7 games of the season. I think they come out focused for this one. And they'll know that they gained an awful lot of yardage against Northwestern last year.
Yeah, I think if you look at Northwestern, the book on them for years was take him as a dog, fade him as a favorite. Sure. And it makes a lot of sense. It's just like Northwestern's not a good I know in recent years they've done well scheduling complete cupcakes, but if you look at the makeup of this type of team, they don't have the NFL caliber type of players, skill position players, to really be able to extend, and their defense is never good enough to prevent the backdoor score. But what I'm looking at with this game is 2 key factors. I'll talk about the second one, I make it official, but the first one is just the injuries. Mack is an NFL-ready running back. He'd be a great special teams kick returner as well. Sure. He's been off injury. He got suspended for 2 games, and he basically flipped the program the bird and said, you know what, I'm your best player, and you suspend me, I just won't play for you. Right. Set out the entire year, and Christian, their #1 wide receiver, is out,
Jones, yeah.
is out as well. So they got their top 2 playmakers are out. Northwestern doesn't have the depth to be able to afford this. Coulter is out. He's probably organizing some other union. So their best quarterback option is out as well, and I can't see, you know, I see Cal being super hungry. I got Pac-12 against Big Ten. I'm immediately interested in what some are calling the best conference out there. Okay, second best conference. So
yeah, I when it comes to the conferences, when you look at the SEC, of course, you're referring to in the Pac-12. I think the SEC is deeper. I think the teams at the top of the Pac-12, if you break down the top 4 or 5 teams in the SEC, top 4 or 5 teams in the Pac-12, I'll lean towards the Pac-12. But as far as from top to bottom, I think the SEC is a little bit deeper with quality opposition. You know, you look at the Pac-12, man, you got UCLA, they could win a national title. Oregon could win a national title. USC could be in the mix as far as possibly being undefeated at the end of the season. There's a little bit of drop-off after that. But again, I think the top of the upper division in the Pac-12 is better than anybody else's upper division. But as far as what happened last year, I was looking at this last season, and I remember having this game and watching Cal throw 2 pick sixes going the other way. And, of course, they piled up 550 yards. And then, if memory serves correctly, they had a late game interception when they were around midfield, and Northwestern turned it into about a 90-yard drive to take the lead with about a minute 40, minute 50 to go, or extend the lead, and that was the difference in the game. So I think not only do you have some problems with Northwestern, with injuries, with what's going on the field, and some departures, but again, you got a California team that's not only focused, they know they can win. They know they can beat this team. Deep down inside, they know they could have beat them last year.
Yeah, and they really know that they should have won that game last year. Let me go ahead and make this official. I'm going to play my trump card on this game. Okay, obviously there's an art and there's a science to handicapping. I'm going to go to the art here. I really think, I love Fitzgerald, he's a great coach, but I think this nonsense of unionizing, why is a private school that the players are getting $50,000 compensation and tuition looking to unionize? If ever there was a school that should be fat and happy about getting a scholarship, it should be these players. It makes no sense to me. It says there's an internal problem between the kids and the school and management, and I do not like that at all, and I think that's part of the reason we saw Northwestern, the wheels come off last year, and if you bet Northwestern and you could have just freeze it 1 minute to go in the games, you did great against the spread. 4 laterals later against Ohio State, take your ticket, throw it away. And hopefully that, and the one game that didn't happen was the Cal game. I think Northwestern doesn't get so lucky this year. We take Cal plus 11. Wouldn't surprise me to see them win straight up.
Anybody tell these kids, by the way, that there are union dues?
Uh-oh.
You have to pay your union dues if you're going to be part of a union, don't you?
I always think about the John Belushi when in Blues Brothers. He's like, Union 108. You do have your union card tonight, don't you, good old boys?
That's great.
Very good. Any last thoughts on?
Nah, just I think it's a situation where, you look at Northwestern, capable of being a contender in the division they're in the Big Ten. Yes, if everything breaks correctly, but so many close games again over the last couple of years. You mentioned Ohio State, the game against Nebraska, they lose on the last play, the Hail Mary. 2 years ago, they win those games. Last year, they don't. And I think it's a season of another, a bunch of close games again for Northwestern.
Very good. And I do like Northwestern under 7.5 wins. You can still get at that like minus $1.40 for a bonus pick. They'll be a dog 7 consecutive games towards the end of the year. College football opening week. We're excited. And of course, NFL just around the corner. We're going to talk about NFL line moves coming up. NFL week 1. I'm going to project. I'm going to tell you I'm not going to tell you who's going to cover the games. That's harder. But I'm going to tell you where some lines are going to close. Stay with us. Pregame.tv.